Welcome to the England Rugby Pod. Thanks for downloading episode 85. It's the first test in England's three-test series down in South Africa, and we're hoping for a big win to kickstart their return. You're listening to the England Rugby Pod, the rugby podcast that believes England will win the World Cup in 2019. Hey guys, welcome to Game Day. It's test number 1 out of 3. We're obviously down in South Africa. We're not, but the England team are. And I'm joined, of course, by Dan. Hi, mate.
Hi, mate. Yeah, unfortunately, we're not. So, talk me through. Where's your head at, mate? What are you thinking?
I'm still feeling pretty confident. Don't really know why. Just a feeling. But I think we discussed it at length earlier in the week. And yeah, I think the more I think about it, we looked at the team. We were pretty happy with the 15, other than the Mike Brown situation, but we have a theory on that. And we were pretty happy with the finishers in the forwards. It's that centre combination.
Pretty furious with the finishers in the backs.
A bit confused about, but that aside, I think it's a strong side going out on the pitch to start the game. And I think, the most important guys, given what happened in the Six Nations, is going to be those back row guys and that ability to compete at the breakdown. And I think we've got that, in, both starting on the pitch and coming on and finishing. So,
yeah, exactly, mate. So, I've said to you before, like any England rugby game, my head's normally, I just want us to win. I don't care how we get there as long as we win. But today, it's actually slightly different. So you're saying about back row. I really want Tom Curry to make that 7 shirt his own starting today. I really want him to, put out the marker saying, I'm your man for the World Cup.
Yeah.
I want to see Elliot Daly do that as well at 15. Let's stop this fucking bullshit about what's going on at 15. Let's let Elliot Daly take charge of that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that's a great shout.
And I want to see Marrow back to his old self. I want to see him whooping. I want to see him, fist pumping like he's been doing with Saracens.
Yeah, we want to see a bit of sort of what's the word? Just passion that maybe
joie de vivre.
Why not? Yeah, but something that just seemed a little bit missing in the Six Nations. But like you say, it's there in at club level. So I agree. I think we want to see that. Obviously, the win is key as well. But I think they've got that. I think, as in, they're perfectly capable of going out there and winning these games. I think they're the stronger side.
Yeah, it's a close one, mate. South Africa have got a good side out. They're like Faf de Klerk, Willie LaRue.
Well, interesting that you said. So I ran a Twitter poll, just ran it this morning. 91 of you got involved. I say of you, maybe you weren't listeners, but if you're not, get listening. But yeah, 91 people, and the results came back. 3% said they thought it'd be a draw. 48% said South Africa to win. 49% England to win.
So that's quite interesting on a mainly English audience.
We assume mainly English, but this is on Twitter, so it may well be that all the Saffers have seen that I'm running the poll and gone, I'm having my say.
It's Twitter box. Is that also outside of England?
Believe it or not, it's all around the world.
Wow.
I know.
Wow.
I know. We should really show it to you one day.
How times change.
Yeah, you no longer have to send up smoke signals. Anyway, are you still feeling that England have got the edge, or has my Twitter poll got you thinking?
No. I'm still thinking England win. I can't remember what I said. I think I said 25-21. And I'm sticking. Yeah, I'm sticking to a similar scoreline to that.
Yeah, I'm happy with mine. I think I said 26-17.
6-17, I think.
Yeah, and I'm sticking with that too. But okay, so guys, obviously this is our first live episode since the Six Nations. I say live; it's obviously our version of a live episode. You won't hear it until after the game's finished, but we're going to bring you our sort of first half analysis at half time, and then we'll do our kind of roundup of the game at full time. So at least you kind of get a different opinion rather than us waiting to the end of the game, and then I think everyone tends to have the same sort of opinion at the end of the match.
Copy what the pundits say in the studio.
Exactly. So this way you just get a slightly more accurate reflection of what we're thinking about how things are going. So hopefully you enjoy listening to these. We're going to keep this part of it pretty short because actually we've covered most of the build-up in our last episode. But it's going to be a good game. It's England's chance, as we said last week, to kind of stamp out any ideas that they're losing their way, that Eddie Jones is no longer the hero we once thought he was, which I think is crazy, because you still have to look at okay, we've had a bad 2018, but that's because we had a bad Six Nations, simple as that. If we can put that behind us and get back into winning form, there's plenty of games left this year to turn that around, and there's no reason why they can't do it. So big day. So guys, we're going to leave you with the anthems so that you can enjoy the start of this game the same way we're going to, even though you've probably already watched it and listened to these once. But that's just what we do.
Yeah, let's hope the red rose can blossom again.
Ooh.
God, I'm a douche. I'm such a douche.
You are. Guys, on that note, we'll leave you with this. Hey guys, Dan, what the fuck's going on?
Mate, that's my question to you, mate. I don't know how this happened.
Okay, I mean, I'm struggling to even follow it at the moment. South Africa are rapid. Like, I don't just mean how fast the players are, but just the speed of the game. They suddenly turn it on. This just looks like, young kind of sevens players chucking the ball around and they don't really know what's going on. And then it all started to come together, and the pace is electric. And England have just been kind of, they went from a 24-3. They got
24-3, yeah.
And suddenly they just can't keep up with it all.
Why are we suddenly so loose? What happened? What changed to make us?
Well, okay, so I've got a few. Just before this, you said what you wanted to see was Daly own the 15 shirt and Curry own the 7 shirt. I can't say much about Curry because I to be honest, I haven't seen a huge amount from him yet. And Elliot Daly, as much of a world-class player as we've always said he is, he's made a few errors, not least of which was that fucking... How do you not clear that ball?
Yeah, man, I think that's one of the things you can just brush under the carpet. It's a very bad mistake, but it's a one-off. It's not something that he's going to be doing repeatedly. It's just... But,
that's
a very poor mistake.
Good kicking from South Africa means that's 7 of the points. He's been out of position a bit as well. I feel like he's, I don't know, almost, well, okay, before we go into that, we've obviously been, all week people have been saying, what the fuck's Mike Brown doing on the wing? Mike Brown's having a pretty good game.
He's one of our better players out there.
I mean, I would be tempted, and this goes against everything you said before we sent everyone for the anthems.
Don't say it.
I'm going to say it.
Hello, mate. Sorry, I lost you there for a sec.
It's all right. No one else did. So I was just saying that Mike Brown is like the form player right now, and I just think you need that at fullback more than on the wing. On the wing, Daly can slot in anywhere. I don't know. It's probably just freaking out for no reason. But if South Africa can maintain this tempo, you've got to be so solid at the back. And does Daly just not have enough experience playing fullback?
Maybe. I mean, international fullback's a tough one. The game's very loose. What we need to do, we need to take more control of the breakdown.
Yeah.
We need to slow it down more.
Which is clearly what Eddie was thinking at 35 minutes when he took Nick Isekwe off and brought on Brad Shields in the second row.
I mean,
it means that he's committing. It means he is committing to having... Well, it pretty much means he's committing to having Rob Shaw on for the full 80 now, because that option to change him's kind of gone. You've got Nathan Hughes still available, but I just don't see Billy. He's still coming back from injury. I don't see him lasting 80, so therefore you need Nathan Hughes to replace Billy.
Yeah, it's Billy's been a little quiet actually, hasn't he?
Yeah, he had a great first couple of touches, and then yeah. But I think that's more down to the fact that South Africa have just suddenly put so much pressure on England, and they're not quite sure. They don't seem quite sure what to do with it.
It's yeah, I don't, mate. I must admit, I got caught a bit off guard by it because I just when we were 24-3 up, I'm like, yes, lads, we're back. This is it. This is the boys of old. And then this happened, and I wasn't really. I know this sounds weird. I'm just watching it almost in shock, not really sort of understanding why it's happening.
Yeah, I mean, Faf de Klerk obviously is bossing the game at the moment, and he's creating so much pace. I mean, this is very interesting to see because this is what we need from a scrum half. Obviously, your forwards have got to win that quick ball, and we probably would have it. I'm not saying our scrum halves can't do that, but he's just creating the pace, and then you've obviously got guys that just are so rapid anyway. England may be falling slightly into the trap of just trying to slow things down rather than, and we do need to slow them down, but maybe England just not. I don't know. In the early stage when we were scoring all the tries, we were playing at pace and catching them by surprise, and they've just done the same thing back to us. So I guess it's pretty level at the moment. I mean, I know they're just ahead.
Yeah, that kick at the end was a really good thing. I think that just perks up the boys a little bit. It's 2 points, isn't it?
Yeah, settle things down a bit. It's 0-0, start again kind of thing. It's obviously not, but you can come back out and say, right, we need a new half Rugby. I guess one of the questions is, will South Africa have that in them for another 40 minutes? We know England's capable of.
This South Africa team, I don't know enough about. LaRue is quality.
Yeah.
But we've known that. I mean, we've seen him in the Premiership for a while, so season. He's just an absolute legend. Faf de Klerk as well. Yeah, mate, it's going to be interesting. But let's go back. Have a look. I want to go and have my second beer, so I'll be absolutely smashed by the time it's full time.
Mate, you're already smashed. We'll catch you in the second. We'll catch you at the end of the game, guys, and yeah, hopefully we're ahead, and hopefully by a bit more than 2 points. But we'll take whatever kind of win we can get. Let's just hope that's what we're going to be talking about in a few minutes' time. Guys, welcome back. Oh dear, Dan,
mate, we're getting to dangerous territory here with England at the moment. There's not that winning mentality about them. When we went 24-3 up, I was like, yes, here we go. As soon as South Africa started getting back in it, I didn't think we'd win, and that's a real worry because before I'd never had that thought about them.
Mm. It's a difficult one because if we're looking at it in terms of results and getting W's, there are some obvious areas that you can kind of put the result down to. Areas where England made huge mistakes, costing them points. That you can't sort of say South Africa had the same thing, so discounted things like. And I know it's not. I know that the rest of his game was great, but things like the Elliot Daly, kind of balls up when he should have cleared his lines. Yeah, of course, if he'd managed to clear it 22, maybe it goes back into South African possession, and maybe they come back and score the try anyway. But things like that, you have to.
Happen.
They do happen. No, they do happen. But when they happen, they can lose your games.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of looking at it from a trying to look at the positives. A really strong 20 minutes, a really strong kind of last 8 minutes, and I the whole time I was kind of screaming at the screen saying, please don't kick it, run it, and every time they did that, every time they decided we're out of time, we have to run it, they made ground. Putting people like Johnny May into space, you're always going to have an opportunity. But if you just kick the ball straight down the South Africans' throats, and then they do that, and the trouble is, we struggled because South Africa put us under so much pressure because they were playing quick ball. But they weren't playing quick ball and kicking it. They were playing quick ball and running it and running it and running it, and that was where England sort of struggled. But also that's where South Africa struggled in the first 20. So it really frustrated me that we kind of went through this phase of, if we get the ball and we're not in their half, we should kick it away.
Mate, when we're losing, and I said this in the Six Nations, actually, if the game plan first 20 minutes was to kick, you're right. We just carry on doing it. There's no sense of urgency. It's something I've fought for England for a while. Just, like you say, they'll kick, and it's like, no, sometimes you do need to change your game plan. If you're chasing the game, you need to take more risk.
Yeah.
You can't.
But
just
is it a risk?
that.
Is it a risk if running the ball, is getting you points and
No, that's what I mean. They should be running it more.
Yeah, but
Like,
what I'm saying is,
kicking is.
but it's not about taking risks. If your kicking game's not working, but your running game is, then actually running the ball isn't taking a risk. It's doing the thing that you seem to be best at.
It's mostly, it's
do you know what I mean? It's
a
bit bizarre to sort of, if that is the thought process, to think, no, we kick it for safety because your kicking game's shit. There was one of Elliot Daly's big problems, and I'm not actually picking on him here. This is a positive, but unfortunately in South Africa and at altitude, he's got such a big boot anyway. The trouble is he just taps the ball and it goes too far, like the kick that he put through. I mean, anywhere else in the world, that kick would have probably been an absolute gem.
Mate, it's like he's fucking Superman sometimes, isn't it?
Is he the right man for 15? Is that the right position for him in the England setup? And even over Anthony Watson when Anthony Watson's back?
I think so. The problem is if Eddie wants him at 15, he needs to commit now, because you did notice positionally there a couple of times, sort of maybe caught out.
Yeah, 100%. He's still getting a feel for it, and he's not playing fullback week in week out for club, is he?
No. Well, no, he plays anywhere for us, really.
Well, yeah, but so do you know what I mean? Like, if he's going to be your fullback, ideally you want him to be fullback for Wasps, because you want him to have that from a positional point of view. From a kind of fullback's rugby brain point
Don't
of view.
forget Wasps have Willie LaRue.
Well, no, I know. So he's not going to. But that's kind of my point. So he's not going to be the Wasps fullback. So do we want to commit to have?
Yeah, that's
we want.
Don't
get me wrong. We want him on the pitch. There's no question he's
a
a vital part of the England setup. I just wonder whether it's a mistake to have him at fullback when, for example, when you got an Anthony Watson who is playing fullback for club.
Yeah. So it's I don't know why, and I need to think this through a bit more at some point. But to me, I'm more comfortable with Elliot Daly at fullback, even though at the moment I'd say Anthony Watson is more knowledgeable fullback.
Yeah.
I just think Elliot Daly could end up being an absolute world-class fullback.
I think the thing is,
he's a world-class player.
I was going to say, I think the thing is, whatever position, and you're right, Eddie needs to commit. England needs to commit to where he's going to play. But I think whatever position they choose, he'll be world-class. I mean, we haven't seen him at 13 for England. Clive Woodward loves to talk about how 13 is his best position. I'm not quite sure how he knows that, or
well,
if he just assumes
when Elliot Daly was mainly sort of on the scene at Wasps at 13, he was absolutely bossing it. He was tearing defence apart. I really rated him as a 13.
So let me put this to you. I would be tempted, and I thought that Henry Slade had a good game, but I would be tempted to try Daly at 13. I know this is not what we're doing on tour, but I kind of feel like we still don't know yet. And I know this goes against what you said beforehand, but I'd be tempted to try Daly at 13 and put Cipriani at the back in the next test.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or even Mike Brown. If you want, just based on today's performance, I think Eddie Jones has always kind of talked about Mike Brown as being his safety net, and if Mike Brown can play the way he did today, next week and the week after, then then maybe Mike Brown goes to the back, where perhaps Anthony Watson is the future. And
Mike Brown deserves a place in the team right now.
Oh, and he'll be involved again next week. But I wonder whether he's better off at the back, where he knows that position better than anyone else.
Brown Pants does know it pretty well, doesn't he? He's
But if they do that, Daly needs to be on the pitch, and I'm not sure that sticking him on the. I always feel like putting him on the wing's a bit of a a waste. I mean, he's been brilliant for us on the wing before, so I wouldn't be that worried. But I'd like to see him at 13. I'd like to see what he can do in an England shirt at 13. And 13 is another position that England's just hasn't quite nailed down yet. You know, there are lots of options, which is kind of bad just outside of a World Cup. But, you know, one of those options is a world-class player. So why not try it?
Yeah, it's no, Matt. I actually like the sound of that. I'd like to see him at 13.
And Farrell Daly, that could be tasty.
Yeah, I agree. I think that'll be quite good. I think Ford has kept his place at 10.
Yeah, he's done well defensively.
It is brilliant.
Yeah, defensively was mixed again, but I think you kind of have to accept that probably most fly halves are not going to knock back a number 8.
I 100% disagree with this because obviously as a 10 myself, when I just used to smash people non-stop.
I've seen you play a few times.
I don't think it happened once.
Yeah, I've never seen you smash anyone.
But I 100% disagree at this level. His defence isn't good enough. He needs to have one-on-one sessions. He needs to address that, and it needs to be done fairly urgently. And
don't get me wrong. I wasn't saying that I'm okay with him lacking in defence, and I'm still not convinced that he's necessarily the go-to long term. But I agree with you that he performed well today, but still not defensively, and it is an issue.
But he wasn't bad, was he? Am I missing?
No, he wasn't bad. There was just the trouble is at fly half, and as supporters, you see everything the fly half does. It's all very much in the open, so you don't miss anything. So when he misses a tackle, and unfortunately, it's when a 9-foot fucking giant decides to pick up from the back of the scrum and run at him. You go, what's wrong with you? How did you miss that? And it's like, well, the guy was 3 times the size of him. So these things happen, but.
You've got to Johnny.
Johnny and Owen, and you have to find a way. That's the key, isn't it? You find a way. You don't have to put your shoulder down and knock the guy backwards. You have to find a way to get your body in a position that just means he can't go any further. And he's usually quite good at that when tracking back, but it's missing that first one and giving them the extra 5 yards.
So here's a question I'm going to sort of ask out there. England's training sessions we've gone on about. I'm digressing just a little bit here.
Yeah.
England's training sessions we've gone on about how intense they are, how their fitness, how they got to be the toughest. If it's in, is that at the cost of skills? I just think that we're not that sharp on the skills front, and I worry. I don't know. I have no idea, but I worry over training sessions. They're not allowing sort of analysing player by player. For Ford, for example, saying, "Do you know what?" In attack, because mate, some of the passes he finds are absolute world class. I don't mean there's another 10 in the world that can do it, including Bowden Barrett.
But he's doing it.
Yeah, he's doing that. But is it then saying, right, he's got that nailed, but his defence hasn't? We need to put in a training regime for his defence, or for someone else. We need to put in a training regime for their rucking or whatever.
Yeah.
Are we not focusing enough on the skills and just doing too much on? Let's beast ourselves. Let's become the hardest, the best, the fittest. That's why I'm Robin the fittest. But it's just shit.
Yeah.
It's just.
I mean, look.
Shit.
We're part of our job doing this podcast is to make excuses.
Of course.
They're playing at altitude. It was always going to take its toll. These guys all train.
Cheated.
I wasn't going to go there. I didn't.
It was a football instead of a rugby ball.
I did think there were a few slightly dodgy decisions, but
I didn't have any.
But England made so many errors that were correctly identified. I kind of think, well, if you're going to be that bad, then the ref's not going to be able to help but assume you've done it again. Marrow, Sir Marrow Obatoje, pardon me, Sir Marrow Obatoje. For large portions of that game, I almost felt like he was a kid on debut, desperate to, almost like a Johnny May, kind of just running around like a headless chicken a little bit.
Why is he so good for Saracens?
I don't know. And he never looked, all you talked about it, being all fired up and pumping the air and all that. There wasn't any of that. He kind of just looked pissed off the entire time.
There does seem to be something in the camp at the moment that's just not quite clicking. They don't seem to have that swagger that they had. And fair enough, because you lose a few, of course you lose that a little bit.
Yeah.
But it's sort of more than that. They don't seem to have like you say, even at the start of the match, there's nothing where they look. No, I'm not saying they don't want it and they put their bodies on the line. And absolutely, I'm not saying they don't do it, but they don't look like they really, really want it compared to some other teams, compared to how they were before. They just look like, I don't know, it's almost robotic sometimes, I think. Like they're not necessarily their play, but it's almost robotic as in the way they conduct themselves on the pitch and sort of personalities. They don't seem to have been given the freedom to really go out there and just be like, let's fucking tear this up. Let's really have a go at them.
Yeah.
Which is why I want to see Cipriani involved at somehow.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think the other issue is possibly, well, I don't know actually. Sekwe got taken off, and according to Eddie Jones, it wasn't because he was playing badly. It was just because they felt like they needed another back row player because the game was so open. They wanted.
I thought Sekwe looked like the only one wanting it.
Well, yeah, he was certainly doing the pumping that you like. But yeah, he was obviously the man that went. I don't know. I wonder whether, and not obviously on this tour, but I wonder whether Itoje needs to be told, do you know what? You've been great, but you're not guaranteed a place, and actually we're going to bench you for a while. And I don't mean as a finisher, but I mean once you've got your awesome foursome and the likes of Sekwe and others available, maybe saying to Maro Itoje, look, actually, whether it's because you're too tired, because he's one guy that hasn't had any rest, or whether it's just that you don't seem to have that fire in your belly for England, we're going to say if you're not feeling like you can give England everything, then we'll find someone else. And if you want it back, then go and earn it back.
Is there a danger though that we're basing Maro's performances on absolute world-class performances, and maybe because they're not matching what he's done previously, it might, it's still acceptable and still worthwhile of the jersey.
I know what you mean. I think though, if Maro Itoje had done that like once, you'd say yeah. But we've seen him do it in an England shirt on multiple occasions, so he's capable of doing it week in, week out. And I think at the very least you want to see that passion, that fire in his belly, and that seems to have been missing for a little while. So either he finds a way to get it back, because he's. You remember when Haskell was kind of first on the scene for England, and you always sort of thought he's great when things are going well, but he does have a habit of just making silly mistakes and just giving away. I mean, Maro Itoje, not only did Maro give away about 5 of the penalties, but I think all 5 of them were kickable, and whether they were kicked or missed, they were points. They gave away points, and it's bad enough giving away 17 penalties in a match, but when one of your supposed star players is basically handing the opposition 15 points through silly mistakes, high tackles, lying on the wrong side of the ball. Just stuff that he's supposed to be kind of really clued up on, and be one of the best guys in the world at positioning, and I don't know, it's frustrating. And I'm not saying that there's an obvious solution in the form of someone else. I still think he's our guy going forwards. But I do think we don't want to get into a situation where we've got guys who seem to be losing that passion, but we're keeping them in because they're just sort of, you've got to have him.
Yeah. No, I agree, and it's not a great precedent set. But let's let this percolate a bit, because in our podcast next week, you and me will chat about it before, but I'd like us to really look at sort of certain things. I don't quite know what yet, but and another reason I'm putting this in, I'm in a bit of a party and there's a really hot new barmaid who I want to stare at, but we need to look at this performance more. I want to watch this game again, because 24-3 up. You should not only get 3 more points for the entire game. Or no, it wasn't 3 more points for the entire game. 3 more points when the game was competitive.
Yeah.
I'm actually really angry about that.
It was just the team was. I mean, discipline is, I think, the word for the day, and it's the thing. But we say it every time England play.
Yeah. And I'm getting sick of it. And do you remember last time we were saying, like during the Six Nations, they should almost as a group say, I'm not saying there's specific examples today, but saying, if you do this, you'll be dropped. If you keep doing this, you'll be dropped, because you are costing us.
Well, like Mako at the end there, and I know that you could argue that England seemed to get a little fire in their bellies off the back of it, but he was just fed up. You know, he was one of the fatties up front. He was tired. Faf de Klerk had just done him again, and he was like, "Do you know what?" And it was a clear, you know, he just dropped the shoulder on him, and it's like, well, you've got to expect to go in situations like that. And this is a test match for your country. You know, you're a professional rugby player. You paid an awful lot of money to do this for a living. That should be very easy to not do at this level. I agree with you. There needs to be some way of just really
there needs to be
drilling that in.
consequences.
Yeah. And they don't even have to be public, but internally there needs to be something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm not
wedges,
saying. Yeah, I'm not
wedges,
saying
maybe.
send them out.
Mate, wedges and no chicken wings for a week.
And noogies.
Yeah. Well,
bog what? Mate, bog what? Oh no, actually, I don't know half of the word fit.
He needs to do something. They need to do something, and the discipline needs to be dealt with because that is costing them a huge amount. I mean, the pace of the game today was one thing, but you know, to enable to have that kind of pace, you need that front foot ball, and you know that. I think England are capable. They did it in the first 20 minutes. They're capable of getting that kind of thing again. But the discipline is key because once you start handing points away, you kind of fold in on yourself a little bit, and I think that's when you end up you're on the back foot, and it becomes very difficult to climb your way back out. They came close, 3 points in it in the end. But it wasn't close enough, and unfortunately,
I think that's not. I think the scoreline makes it closer than it was.
I don't think we didn't hear that last sentence there, mate. I think you.
Sorry, I said I think the scoreline makes it closer than it actually was.
Yeah. But you know that is what Test matches are, and this is 4 losses on the bounce. So
5 if you include barbars.
Awful lot to do, and a week to start doing it.
Yes, yeah. But mate, let's knock it. I need to go and stare a fit barmaid and scare her. I really hope Sarah's not going to listen to this episode.
I don't think she'll be that bothered. Give her the excuse she needs, mate.
Yeah, probably. Cool. But yeah, so guys, we're going to be back next week. We're going to look at this more in depth. We're going to look at the upcoming checking test. So make sure you tune in for that, guys. And yeah, look, it's a shame. It's not the result we wanted, but.
No, it's certainly not. Well, guys, thanks for joining us again for one of our live-ish episodes. Obviously, shortish one this week, but we will be back in the week to, as Dan says, go over this one again and look forward to the next one. And we'll be doing all of this again next weekend. And we'll try and hopefully we'll be bringing you a happier story. But keep tuning in, spread the word, share the love. If you get an opportunity, rate us, review us on iTunes. We're on Acast, we're on Spotify, we're on Twitter, we're all over the gaff. At England Rugby Pod, Facebook and Twitter. Website www.englandrugbypod.com, and you can email us at englandrugbypod@gmail.com. And we'll catch you next week. Cheers, guys.